5 ways retirement can ruin relationships. Ruin relationships. It's a whole new phase you're in now. Things have to change. They need to adapt. Here's number 1. Marriage or your significant other. When you're retired, you have much more time on your hands, right? You're going to be spending a lot more time with your significant other than you used to. How's that going to affect a relationship? Yikes! Didn't think of that. Think of that. Before you get retired. Before you retire, maybe have a conversation with your wife or husband. Say, things are going to be changing a little bit. How can we best adapt to that? Because now it might not be how you had it before. It probably won't be. The husband, the wife goes to work. You see each other in the evenings. Now it might be more of a 24/7 thing. Think about how you can do things together. Think about how, you can just spend your time as a couple, having good things to do. Try and think about your partner, your significant other, their needs and wants. How are you affecting them now that you're not there just 2 or 3 hours a day? You're there all the time. Yikes. Things can change. Luckily, in my situation with my girlfriend, when I'm with her now, we spend 24/7 time together. We've never lived together. We've been together 20 years. Yeah, some of you might say that's a weird relationship. It works for us. Whatever works for you is good for you, right? But now that we're together 24/7, 5, 6, 7 days in a row, where it used to be 3 hours here, 4 hours there, 5 hours there, 1 hour there, I think we formed a deeper bond. At least I think so. You might have to ask her to see if she... Wait, I can hear in the other room. Yes? No? I want to answer that. Anyway, you have to think about that going into retirement. You're going to be spending a lot more time with your spouse, significant other, whatever. That can have negative consequences. Think about it, talk about it beforehand. Number 2, relationships with your family. One thing about retirement is that when you retire, you have a lot more time on your hands. And what do? A lot of times with a lot more time on your hands? More time to think. You think a lot. You might think about, when my children were growing up, I did this for them well, I didn't do this. I'm going to make up for that in retirement. Your kids, who are probably grown by now, maybe have families of their own, might have been used to you calling like once a week. If you're in the same town, seeing them once or twice a week. When you're retired, you might be reaching out with a lot more of those touchy-feely, introspective kind of questions, and your kids are going, what's up with this? Mom, Dad, they're weird now. Hey, they'll adjust, but at first it may be a negative thing. If you're asking them, what, I really didn't do this for you when we were growing up. I'd like to do this with you now. They might not like it at first. They might not like it ever. You don't know, but try. Adjust with them. Let them know this is what you're going through. It's like, it's a different phase of my life. Work with me here, kiddos. Come on. So that's the second thing. Family. Your relationship with your family may suffer when you retire. Initially. Hopefully it doesn't once you get things worked out. Number 3, friends. I mentioned in video before that I had friends from work that I totally lost contact with, the vast majority of them. I think looking back at it more, some of that might have been my fault. I should have let them know, hey, you know what, I'm going to be retiring in a couple months, but I'd really like to stay in contact with you, instead of just having an abrupt ending to some of these friendships at work. They're thinking, hey, Duane was here last week. Where is he now? I don't see him. I don't smell him. Definitely don't smell him. Where is he? Part of that was my fault. Some of these people I didn't let know I was retiring. I should have done a better job with that. I should have said, I'd like to stay in contact. Here's all my information. Some people I did, the vast majority I didn't. Also, just friends in general. With your friends in general, a lot of them may still be working. You may have had a certain pattern to your friendship that is changing because you want it to change. You want to spend more time with them. They might be comfortable with having you as kind of like an arm's length kind of friend. Hopefully not. In some of my cases, I think it might have turned out that way. Don't want it to, but it did. Let them know it's, hey, man, I'm going through this stuff now. I'm retired. I got a lot more time. I want to spend more time with you. I want to connect with you more. Hopefully they'll be up for that. Some might not. Number 4, something I never thought about until I read about it a couple months ago. Your relationship with your neighbors may change. Oh, yeah. Think about it. You had a schedule before. Also, when you're retired, you have a lot more time to think about, the neighbor's grass that you were talking with your wife or your husband about. It's like, can you believe that? I mean, it looks like crap. Why don't they do something about it? You have a lot more time now to look at that crappy grass. Might be a negative impact toward your neighbors. Another thing, they might get up every morning at 8:30 or 9 and leave for work in their loud car or motorcycle. Whereas before, when you were working, you were already at work. You didn't have to deal with that. Now you got to deal with it. I don't know. If you're close with your neighbors, maybe have a talk. Say, hey, I'm home a lot more now. There's things we can do together. Maybe you can become closer friends with them. Who knows? But there will be some negative aspects to that because it's a different situation. You're in a different part of life now. Okay? Number 5, society in general. Now, this really applies, and I've talked about this before as well, about people such as doctors, people such as maybe lawyers, people, CEOs that had very prestigious careers, whereas most people they ran into said, hey, Dr. blah, 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 how you doing? Now, when you run into people in retirement, a lot of them, probably the majority of them, might not know what you did for a career. It'll be like, hey, what's your name? How you doing? Yeah, my name's John. Not Dr. John Jones anymore. This can be a negative impact on a lot of people. How they see themselves, their self-worth. This can happen in retirement. You're not who you were, who you used to be. You have to reinvent yourself in retirement. For a lot of these people in these kind of positions, reinvent yourself. Who am I now? That's who I was. Who am I now? It will take time to adapt to doing that, but it can be done. A lot of people I've read are much happier once they've come to that realization and done some work on that to help themselves out. Okay? So think about that, guys. A lot of these things I didn't think about when I first retired. Hopefully this may help you before if you haven't retired or if you're already in retirement. Think about a couple of these things that I mentioned. Might help you. And remember, guys, as always, we got this.